Dozens of people forced to suddenly move out of an assisted living facility. Their families telling 11 Alive they only had a couple weeks to find a new place for their loved ones after learning the center was abruptly closing its doors.
So what are your rights if you find yourself in a situation like this, trying to find care for your aging parents or another relative? Joe Ripley is live right now. He's in Walton County with the story that you will only see on 11 Alive. Joe, you spoke with the families and the owner to get a better sense of why this all happened.
Yeah, Jeff and Sheehan, as you can imagine, the residents who used to live here at Hollander Senior Living are feeling devastated after having to move out. And let's show you how this place looks more like a ghost town. All we see here are furniture as well as clothes left behind, the only remnants that these residents had. Elliot Hollander says he no longer owns this property. It belongs to the bank after the property went into foreclosure, and it's also forced dozens of residents to find a new home. Kristen Henshaw is preparing her mother's new home at the Oaks at Snellville. Carol Sutton lived less than 2 months in her last place, Hollander Senior Living in Monroe.
We have to close April 30th. By 5 p.m., everybody out. And we're like, what?
Henshaw says residents were notified March 22nd they would have to move out by April 30th, but the timeline was moved earlier and earlier. By Sunday, April 10th, Henshaw says all the residents at Hollander were forced out and forced to look for new homes.
You have to look for location, amenities, activities, care, if they need extra medical care.
We're put down so many different rabbit holes of emotion.
Lisa Nichols' mother lived at Hollander for 15 years. Nichols says the move was traumatic for her mom, who's on hospice.
She's not going to be here a whole lot longer. I would have put her in a place where she would be much more comfortable than a strange new environment, strange new people.
The loan was due, and no other bank would refinance the property due to COVID.
The facility's owner, Elliot Hollander, told us he tried to put the property up for sale, but after a year of no takers due to what he believes is skepticism built up during the pandemic, Hollander said he ran out of options. The bank foreclosed on the property and gave him until the end of the month to vacate.
I apologize for that that we were unable to keep the property open indefinitely so that we could continue operating.
You can close the business. You certainly can't be prohibited from shutting down if that's what you feel you need to do, but you have to follow the rules and give the residents and their families proper notice.
Legal analyst Paige Pate says in this case, Georgia law requires the business to give residents 60 days notice before being evicted. Hollander says that simply wasn't possible due to staffing shortages, but it's left families like Kristen Henshaw's frustrated about their next steps.
Make sure that she's okay.
And you can just imagine the different look of this place even a week ago. And now you see the dumpsters piled up with mattresses, furniture, and what have you. Paige Pate tells me that any resident impacted by this should file a complaint with the Georgia Department of Community Health. There they can pursue damages against the facility, as well as file an injunction to make sure that facility can stay open for the required amount of time.
All right, all troubling. Thank you, Joe Ripley.